Sarah Boyd, Com 111. This is the persuasive speech, and this is my audience. I hope you are persuaded.
You sure smell around fast. You were all frozen.
When you wake up in the morning and start your day, you probably don't think about it all that much. It's probably not a big deal. However, some people wake up and they begin a struggle, and that struggle continues through the day and into the next. You see, a lot of people define themselves by the fact that they have attempted suicide or that one day they will. I have known many people who have had suicidal thoughts and even people who have attempted it in the past. However, when I was doing research for this speech, even I was shocked by the statistics I found. However, these days, it's becoming more prominent in society, and there have been many new prevention initiatives started. So today I'm going to talk to you about why suicide should be a concern and how you can help. I'm going to start by proving to you that suicide is a growing problem. In fact, the Center for Disease Control has shown that in 2007, the top 10 causes of death, the fourth was suicide. It beat homicide. Think about that for a second. More people actively decided to take their own lives than having their lives forcibly taken from them. I'm going to paint this in a different picture. There are 320 million people in the U.S., according to the Census Bureau statistics for this month. And 11 in every 100,000 people commit suicide, according to the CDC. If you take those numbers and you are a computer, like my computer is, you will find that about 35,200 people can commit suicide per year. In a fall 2012 issue of Social Work Education, this was proven, with the number 36,909 people having committed suicide in 2012. And that did not account for the estimated 1 million people who attempted it. To make this even more clear, if you actually do the math with how many days in a year, that equals to about 100 people committing suicide every day in America. Now, I know logically it doesn't make sense to do a persuasive speech on suicide prevention, because who says there should be more suicide? However, suicide faces one very strong and undetected opposition, and that is silence. In a 2004 issue of Maclean's, it told the story of Amanda Todd. She was a teenager who committed suicide because she was being bullied online. However, 1 week before she committed suicide, she posted a video online announcing that she was going to do this. She had a successful suicide attempt because no one had intervened, and in fact, people had mocked her for it. Now, Amanda Todd's case is a little bit unique in the fact that she probably really needed a psychologist. And you're probably asking me, in your heads, what can I do without being a psychologist? Well, let me start here. Suicide is probably always going to be a problem. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, the suicidality, that is the tendency of adults to think about suicide, is 7% in adults that are 18 to 25, which is actually my age range. That worries me especially. Now, this is kind of a big deal, because in addition to that, the Journal of Social Work estimated that 93% of social workers have worked with someone who has had suicidal thoughts. So suicide might always be a problem, but maybe the way to help it is to simply start a conversation. I say this thanks to Daniel Redenberg. He wrote a story for the Annals of Psychotherapy about a woman named Carrie who came to see him. She had actually quit her very successful medical residency and attempted suicide on a number of occasions. She was feeling so lost that she did not know where to go. He was actually able to help her because they had started one conversation. And even though you might not be a psychologist, you should know Carrie's family were the ones who intervened on her behalf. They actually called him. So there is still something you can do, even though you are not trained for this. In fact, a conversation is such a good idea that the entire state of New York agrees. A 2004 issue of Mental Health Weekly actually highlighted the efforts of New York State. Their Office of Medical Health decided to start a campaign called Speak. It's about teaching people warning signs of suicide and what they can do about it. Their slogan was, "Speak up and save lives." Now, it might be easy for someone to say, start a conversation, but let's get into the specifics of it. So the first thing that you can do is you can educate yourself. And these days, it's really easy to educate yourself on suicide. The Association of Suicide Prevention has a full website, which has lists of suicidal tendencies and symptoms of it, and it can also begin initiatives in communities on suicide prevention. The National Institute of Mental Health actually has a list of symptoms and signs of depression and suicidality, so you can easily peruse those and compare them to ones you love. There is even a private company that has become invested in suicide prevention. It is called Post Secret, and from that website, you can find an entire database of websites which are geared to help people who know someone that is suicidal or people who are suicidal. Once you know the signs and symptoms, it's easy to identify people who might commit suicide. And the only thing left is to shed the fear of talking. I like to think that these statistics have shown, if anything, that everybody faces suicide at some point or knows someone who has had suicidal thoughts. So it shouldn't be a problem to say, I have suicidal thoughts, or ask someone if they do, because everybody's had to encounter it. The other thing that I hope I've shown you today is that talking actually works. With the story of Carrie, one conversation, and she has actually had no suicide attempts since that moment. In conclusion, the stats have shown suicide is a bigger problem than we realize, and I think something needs to be done about it. However, there are new programs being started that provide education and they encourage conversation, which is something that you all can do. And information is so easy to find these days. So suicide is easily prevented if you can think about it. And I'd say it's probably as easy as asking someone if you are okay and then actually listening to the answer. Thank you.